show you guys up close what this rear main seal consists of, because it's very complicated. It's actually very intriguing. I thought it was really neat the way they did it. I've never seen a setup like this before. But you have your two pieces here, the two halves that hold the seals in, which I have soaking in oil in here. You don't want to put those in dry. You don't want to put them in soaking wet with oil either. What I'll do with these is I will take them out. I will wring them out very gently in a rag and get most of the oil out of them. But you want to have them with some lubricant in them. The speed the engine turns, you put them in dry, you may burn them out. Sometimes you'll find that these get put in axles, in the rear wheels especially, maybe even up in the front. And usually those get lubricated by the lubricate in that axle, but the axle doesn't turn as fast as a crankshaft does. So you don't have to really worry about them getting burnt up in an axle like you do in a crankshaft. So I have them sitting in oil. Those go in here in these lips. We'll put those in. I'll show you that as we do that. But I wanted to show you this whole system, how it goes together with the gaskets, the seals, and these little guys, which I almost missed, that sit here on this lip in here, and then this piece that sits on top of all this on the top of the block. But I wanted to show this to you in this aspect before we put it together so you could see kind of what we were looking at and what this rear main seal consisted of. So now that we've had a look at it, let me get around the other side, get these felt seals prepped, and we'll get this put together. All right, so we're going to start off with our lower seal piece here, and that's going to be this one here. So what we need to do is we need to put our felt seal in there first and foremost. So I've got one here, and these guys are going to squeeze in there real tight, as they're supposed to. Maybe a lot tighter than I'd like them to. Surprised I haven't replaced this with a rubber lipped seal. That'd be something. Okay, I'm just gently trying to get these guys in here. And it is not easy to fit them in. I think what I might do is I might grab a screwdriver to poke them in. So I just grabbed a thin blade screwdriver here. I'm just gonna help cheat that guy in a little bit. And as you can see, my oil is coming out on us. I'm going to take this over to the bench and do it. Alright, well I got my seals in. You can see it in. I left them a little proud so that there might be some butting up against when we put it together. Did not go together easily, but I was able to push them in. You can see it's nice and tight the way it's supposed to be. And that sucker is going to sit right up under here. I'm hoping that that will not be in my way as I go to do this. I just discovered that might be an issue. How do you like that? The engine stand comes back to haunt me again. Let's see if I can roll it around. There we go. Alright. That's where that puppy's going to go. But before I can do that, I need to put my gasket in there, because we got to remember like that. This might be a little tricky. Let me wipe that surface. I don't use any gasket sealant of any type. You're welcome to use it if you like. I've just found that I've used it before and I've had to come back and take the gaskets off, and when I do, I've ended up destroying them because the gasket sealant dried on me and did its job, glued it in place. Dummy me, I shouldn't have made it so I had to come back, but that's why I don't use it. So just trying to get this guy lined up here. And fighting with the gasket as usual. There we go. I'm going to try and get my center bolt in there. The center bolt that goes in, just to make note of it, is the one that's an inch in length. The rest are just 3/4. And I have to... So is this going to fight me the whole way? I'm going to come down here. And it's nice and tight, I'll tell you that right now. In fact, what I'm gonna do, so I can swing this up in position, I'm actually gonna put this little guy in here first on the side, and hopefully I can leverage against him if I can get it to go in. Alright, so what I did was I got my first bolt in here. I just put this punch in here just to hold this in place. This is going to go in a little tighter because that felt seal is doing its job and actually sealing. So let me see if we can get this center one in now. Looks like they should go in fairly easily at this point. I'm not getting that one. Let me see if I can align it with my punch. Man, I can't get it to go. Let's see if I can get this one to go. It's hard when I'm doing it the opposite way I'd like to. I'm going to come over here. Grab my wrench. I am getting it. I got it. I got nothing. All this is because that felt seal just wants to push this down. That's why it's doing this. And I think I have it now, although I said that last time too, didn't I? Okay. Now the trick with all this is, I'm just going to snug it up for now. You got to just snug in the pieces that go. Okay, now I lost my other. Alright, am I losing my mind? Ah, I didn't lose it. It's still in there. I am losing my mind. So I get that one. Anyway, we do not want to tighten any of these up just yet because all this has got to kind of come together. I'm just snugging it right now. I'll probably end up loosening them from where I have them to get them all to go together. I wonder how hard it is to turn this guy right now. Oh, man, that might be really too tight. Let me get my punch. I hope this seal isn't so tight that it's not going to let this guy spin. No, it's not. It's spinning. All right. Now I feel better about that. All right, next piece. We don't want to forget our gaskets that go like so, that I would have forgotten had I not looked them up on my drawing. Put together, I believe it was an H that he had, that he redid. Very good video, I highly recommend it. But I went and watched his video on putting that back together. I think the 1-inch bolts go here, because I think the 3/4 go here. This is kind of all, as you can see as it's coming together, one big assembly. And it's kind of one of those things where you kind of need to tighten it all up at once, because there's so many different factors playing out here. I'm going to go to the other side here. I'm going to need something other than a socket to do that. Alright, I take it back, I'm not an idiot, I had the right size. Or I did not have the right size, I should say. So yeah, with the tightness of all of the felt seals in here, this is a little resistant to want to go back together easily. So, you gotta kind of, get a socket in here now. It's just a fight. It's just a fight. Have you ever had one of those days? I'm having one of those days. Nothing wants to work with me at all. Everything so far today has been a battle. And I can see it's going to continue that way. And sometimes when you have days like that, you just need to stop what you're doing in the shop, because that's when you do bad things and you screw things up. And I've had days like that where I've just had to stop, call it quits, and come back the next day. So as neat as this is of a setup, it really takes some doing to get it to go together, I'll tell you that right now. And I'm glad I left that little bit of extra hanging out on my felt seals that I did, because it all got sucked in when I pushed it in. So it ended up nice and flat in the end. Wow, this is tricky. This is one of those things where you spend all this time on it and then it leaks. I hope that doesn't happen. This guy I'm gonna snug down. Just because it has to be tight. And hopefully, like I said, it doesn't squeeze that crankshaft so much that I can't turn the crankshaft anymore. I don't think it's going to though. The felt's not very strong. That's about snugged down. There's a little bit of ways to go here. It's crazy because I don't even remember taking this stuff apart. It was so long ago. We're about there. This is snugging up real good. Yeah, it's starting to squeeze down so much. It's starting to squeeze the oil out of those felt seals, which is exactly what we wanted it to do. So those are nice and tight. Let me make sure I can still turn the engine. Ooh, that tightened it up quite a bit. Of course, I'm in the most disadvantaged spot I can be in. Wow, that's tight. Man, I don't like that. That is really, really tight. Wow. Never thought a seal would tighten an engine up like that. There we go. Now it's loosening up. Wow. Well, that definitely is sealing, I'll tell you right now, because it's tight. Still turns. Not as bad as it once was before when I had that cylinder bind up on me, but it still takes a little bit to get it to turn. All right, so we got our whole sealing surface together. Now we got this plate that goes on top here. And that has a gasket that goes with it that lays up on top here. And the stud goes up because that connects to the oil pan, I do believe, if I get it correctly. I like putting stuff together backwards, never fails. Yeah, come on, you should go in there. There we go. Just have to finesse it in there. And 3 bolts that go into the top of this whole thing. It's really quite the assembly if you think about it. It's pretty amazing. And I'll just snug these guys. In fact, I actually have a ratchet I can do it with. We'll snug these guys down. Perfect. Now I can take and tighten all this stuff up. And before I forget too, so I don't forget, we got to remember that we got these guys that go in here. Hopefully they'll go in. That one's going in with no problem. Hopefully we'll get some cooperation on this side. Just thinking about it. Come to the other side. That one just needed a little persuasion to go, but it's going. This guy's going. I'll tighten those up. Tighten these up. I don't know if there's a torque on these. I should go look that up. I would kind of be surprised if there was. But this whole tractor has been full of surprises, so why shouldn't I be surprised about that? I'm going to take a look at it. I'm just snugging them up. I don't think there is. Let me check these one more time. Bingo, we're there. So I'm back ready to put my cover on over my gears, but before I do that, I got my oil slinger, goes on here on the crankshaft.
The other thing I need to do is I got my key for my pulley. What's really interesting is in my parts breakdown, it points arrows to 2 keys, but it only lists one in the amount of parts. I found that interesting. Wonder why they put 2 key slots but only put 1 key in. I only had one. I don't think I lost the other one. I think I'd be aware if I lost it. But I just thought that was kind of interesting when I was putting this together. So I got my seals in here. Really weird thing on the seals. I put 2 seals in it. For some reason I ended up with 3 seals when I made my order. It said that the seal was not included in it, but then it was, and then they sent me an extra one. So I ended up with 3 seals. So I ended up putting 2 in there. It fills the space perfectly. It's a little extra protection against any possible leakage. It's not going to hurt anything. So 2 seals in the front, ready to go. I'm going to turn this over, get my gasket on here. If you want to use gasket sealant on yours, that's perfectly fine. I told you my reasons why I don't. I've put too many on and had to pull them off and have destroyed my gasket in the process. So I do not put gasket sealer on in most cases. Every now and then I will. So this is going to be a little tricky. I hope everything in there is fine. Get this bolt started. And I'm going to use my punch here. See if I can grab the gasket, because the gasket wants to do weird things to me. And I'm just going to throw that in there to line that up. Of course, I do not have the wrench that I need as usual, so let me throw in some of these other bolts. And as you can see, the gasket wants to come out on me. Get this one. There's 7 bolts that go in and hold this on. I gotta make sure I'm putting in the ones that actually get bolts. And as we put this on, we're only gonna kind of finger tight because we gotta put this pulley in here, and this has the ability to move. This isn't necessarily a fixed position location for this. Let me go get my socket for that. I'm just gonna bring these in a little bit. I'm not even gonna snug them up. Just make sure this cover doesn't come off on me. In. Okay, we're pretty much there. I'm going to loosen these a little bit. I want this to kind of float right now. And you'll see why as I put this pulley in here. It'll center itself. Our pulley. And I am going to get a little oil on this to go through that seal. Alright. Let's put a little oil on that surface. It'll help it slip it by that seal. And then of course we'll put some inside as well, so it slips on that shaft nice and gently. Alright. Now my key's at the bottom. Let me line this up. And then ever so slightly, I'm just going to push that in. There it goes. Right in. That went in nice and easy. exactly how we want it to. Put our lock tab on. And our nut. And my little, I gotta pull out what I'm pulling out here. I'm pulling out the little set screw that goes in there that holds the pin that goes across for the hand start. Ooh, hopefully this guy will go on here. I don't like how hard that's starting on. That's going on a little tighter and harder than I wish it would. Let me clean these threads up a little more. We got the nut stuck in the socket. So it's 1 inch and 11/16. An 11/16 socket. And it's going on way harder than I really want it to. I should have checked this before we had started. I thought that would have gone on nice and easy. I do not have a tap that is that large, I don't think. Let's come back and take a look at this a little closer. So I took and cleaned the threads up a little bit more. I do not have a tap that's that big, so I wasn't able to chase it. I cleaned it up pretty good. I cleaned up the threads on here, made sure it was all okay, and what I found out was there was just a little bit of a burr on there. I took and threaded it on, grabbed it with my socket. It's still, now it's going, and it's cooperating now. It wasn't cooperating a little bit earlier. But I just took my socket and I threaded it on, and it went on with no problem. It didn't get cross-threaded or anything like that. This is what we want to make sure we're not doing. So I'm just going to bring this guy around. I don't know if we'll be able to tighten it for now. It's going to want to move everything on me. We'll have to hold the back and tighten it. What I am going to do, I'm going to move my socket coming at you. I'm going to loosen this a bit, real quick, so I can get the socket on it. And I'm going to turn my disc to hold it there. And I'm not going to let it turn, I don't think, because I want it to stay about where I have it. And it's still trying to turn on me. I want it to stay right there. Don't move. Now that's not coming off. I locked it on. Let's see if I can hold this with a punch so it doesn't turn on me as I tighten this. There we go. Now I've got it. Now it's not moving. Okay. That guy's on there. I'm going to get a crowbar so I can hold the other side and we can tighten that. And here we go. Except I'm holding it the wrong way. And we don't have to put a whole lot on it. You're just going to snug it up. And it tightens up pretty good. And bring this back. And there we go. The only thing I'm going to do, so I don't lose it, is I'm going to put my little set screw back in down here. I got to get my pin, and we'll throw the pin in there. But for right now, I'm going to put that in there so I don't lose it. Let me Let me get us to a point where I can flip us. I'm not going to flip us because we're going to do the oil pump next. So let me get this cleaned up so we can work on the oil pump. I'm going to get my pin. We'll put that in. We'll be right back.